The 1556 Shaanxi Earthquake. In the middle of the 16th century, Shaanxi sat at the heart of Ming Dynasty China, a region shaped by rivers, trade routes, and one of the most unusual landscapes on Earth. The Wei River Valley was densely populated, its fertile soil supporting millions of farmers and merchants. Along the surrounding Loess Plateau, entire communities lived inside yaodong, artificial caves carved directly into cliffs of compacted wind-blown soil. These homes were warm in winter, cool in summer, and inexpensive to build, making them a common choice for generations. Few could have imagined that the very ground-sustaining life would soon become its greatest threat. In the early morning hours of January 23, 1556, the earth convulsed violently beneath the valley. Modern estimates place the quake near magnitude 8, with extreme shaking rippling through the Wei River basin. The Loess soil, light and brittle, magnified the motion instead of absorbing it. Cliffs disintegrated without warning, cave dwellings collapsed inward, and massive fissures tore open the land. Hillsides slid into valleys, rivers were blocked or redirected, and entire landscapes were reshaped in seconds. In some areas, the ground reportedly dropped or rose by several meters, leaving behind terrain that no longer resembled what had existed the day before. The human toll was catastrophic. Villages built into cliffs were instantly entombed as yaodong caved in on sleeping families. Cities like Haiyuan were almost completely destroyed, with more than half their populations wiped out. Direct deaths likely numbered in the hundreds of thousands, but the disaster did not end when the shaking stopped. Farmland was ruined, food stores vanished, and survivors were left exposed. Famine and disease followed, pushing the total population loss to an estimated 800,000 people, an extraordinary figure for the era. What makes the 1556 Shaanxi earthquake especially significant is how thoroughly it was documented. Imperial records described mountains shifting position, new valleys forming, and city walls collapsing instantly. Scholars who survived wrote detailed observations, including early advice on how to endure future earthquakes. Centuries later, these accounts still offer rare insight into seismic destruction before modern science existed. Combined with its immense death toll, the Shaanxi earthquake remains the deadliest earthquake ever recorded. The 1920 Haiyuan Earthquake. In December 1920, northwestern China lay across one of Asia's most powerful fault systems, where immense forces from the collision of the Indian and Eurasian plates slowly tore the crust apart. The Haiyuan region sat along the northeastern edge of the Tibetan Plateau, a sparsely populated landscape of Loess hills, narrow valleys, and rural farming communities. Homes were scattered across unstable slopes, many carved directly into fine, wind-deposited soil that crumbled easily under stress. On the evening of December 16th, the Haiyuan fault ruptured violently. The earthquake, now estimated at magnitude 7.9, produced some of the most extreme shaking ever recorded. The ground split open along more than 200 kilometers, with horizontal offsets reaching several meters. Entire hillsides collapsed without warning, swallowing villages in seconds. In some places, valleys deepened or shifted, while rivers were abruptly dammed by fallen earth. The terrain was transformed so completely that familiar landmarks vanished overnight. The true devastation unfolded as the land continued to fail long after the initial shock. More than 50,000 landslides cascaded through the region, burying homes, fields, and roads. Entire settlements were entombed beneath collapsing Loess cliffs, leaving little chance for escape. Natural dams formed across rivers, trapping water behind unstable walls of debris. When these makeshift barriers later gave way, sudden floods tore through downstream valleys, striking survivors who had already endured the quake itself. In some areas, isolation, darkness, and cold made rescue nearly impossible. The long-term consequences were severe. Hundreds of thousands died, and countless others were forced to flee land that could no longer support farming. Fields were buried, irrigation systems destroyed, and livestock lost, pushing the region into prolonged food shortages. The death toll was estimated to range from 250,000 to a little over 270,000, making it one of the deadliest natural disasters in Chinese history. The 1960 Great Chilean Earthquake. Along the western edge of South America, the Nazca Plate slides relentlessly beneath the South American plate, diving into the mantle along the Peru-Chile Trench. This subduction zone runs nearly the entire length of Chile, compressing the crust and storing enormous amounts of energy over centuries. Few places on Earth combine such a long plate boundary with such consistent motion, which is why Chile experiences frequent and sometimes catastrophic earthquakes. By 1960, strain had accumulated across a vast section of the plate interface in southern Chile. On May 22nd, that stored energy was released in an event unlike anything ever recorded. The Great Chilean Earthquake reached an estimated magnitude between 9.4 and 9.6, making it the most powerful earthquake measured by modern instruments. The rupture stretched roughly 800 kilometers along the coast and continued for nearly 10 minutes, an eternity in seismic terms. Entire segments of the seafloor shifted by more than 10 meters. The quake released close to a quarter of all global seismic energy recorded during the 20th century, permanently redefining the upper limits of earthquake strength. In southern Chile, the effects were immediate and devastating. Cities such as Valdivia suffered near total infrastructure collapse as buildings sank into liquefied ground or were torn apart by shaking. Rivers changed depth, farmland subsided, and entire neighborhoods flooded as the land dropped by several meters. Landslides poured down Andean valleys, while fires broke out in damaged urban areas. More than 2 million people were displaced across the country. Thousands died, and many more were left without shelter, clean water, or access to medical care. However, the earthquake's power did not stop at Chile's borders. The sudden uplift of the seafloor generated a Pacific-wide tsunami that raced outward at jetliner speeds. Waves struck Hawaii more than 15 hours later, destroying much of Hilo and leading to dozens of deaths. In Japan, over 20 hours after the quake, coastal communities were flooded with little warning, causing additional deaths thousands of kilometers from the epicenter. The same tsunami reached the Philippines, New Zealand, and the Aleutian Islands, turning a regional disaster into a global one. Scientifically, the 1960 earthquake changed everything. It became the benchmark for megathrust earthquakes and reshaped how scientists model plate boundaries. The disaster accelerated international cooperation on tsunami detection and warning systems, leaving a lasting legacy that continues to save lives across the Pacific today. The 1976 Tangshan Earthquake. Before 1976, Tangshan was a symbol of modern progress in northern China. It was a dense industrial city built around coal mining, steel production, and rail transport, supplying energy and materials to the surrounding region. Factories ran day and night, apartment blocks filled the skyline, and the population climbed toward 1 million. Earthquakes were not seen as an urgent concern. The region was widely considered stable, and most buildings were constructed without any seismic reinforcement. That perception shattered at 3:42 in the morning on July 28, 1976. While the city slept, a powerful magnitude 7.6 earthquake ruptured directly beneath Tangshan. The shaking was extreme and immediate. In less than a minute, more than 80% of the city's buildings collapsed or became structurally unsound. Roads split apart, bridges failed, and rail lines twisted out of alignment. Electricity, water, and communications vanished almost instantly. A second major shock later that day, and a barrage of aftershocks compounded the destruction, damaging structures that had somehow remained standing. The human toll was overwhelming. Tens of thousands were trapped beneath concrete and brick, many in complete darkness with no way to signal for help. Hospitals had collapsed, leaving the injured untreated. With phone lines down and transport routes destroyed, rescue efforts were slow and disorganized in the critical early hours. Official figures reported more than 240,000 deaths, though later investigations and historical analyses suggest the true number may have exceeded 300,000. The scale of loss, combined with the suddenness of the disaster, left survivors struggling to comprehend what had happened. As the full extent of the catastrophe was realized, the disaster prompted major changes in seismic research, building codes, and urban planning. Tangshan was rebuilt with earthquake resistance in mind. and the event reshaped how China approached disaster preparedness. The 2004 Sumatra Earthquake. Beneath the eastern Indian Ocean, the Indian Plate pushes steadily beneath the Burma microplate along the Sunda subduction zone. This boundary stretches for thousands of kilometers and had been locking in place for centuries, silently accumulating stress. Historical records hinted at great earthquakes in the distant past, but no living memory carried experience of what a full rupture could unleash. By the early 21st century, enormous strain was stored beneath the seafloor west of Sumatra, waiting for a sudden release. That release came on the morning of December 26, 2004. The earthquake reached a magnitude between 9.1 and 9.3, making it one of the strongest ever recorded. The rupture tore northward for more than 1,300 kilometers, lasting up to 10 minutes as the fault continued to break in segments. Parts of the sea floor lurched upward by several meters, while others dropped just as far. People across Southeast Asia reported the ground shaking for an unusually long time, a signal of the vast scale of the fault movement unfolding deep beneath the ocean. The tsunami was born the moment the seafloor shifted. Massive volumes of water were suddenly displaced, sending energy racing outward in all directions. In the deep ocean, the waves moved at jet speed and passed unnoticed beneath ships, rising only a few tens of centimeters. As they approached shallow coastlines, that energy compressed into towering walls of water. With no regional tsunami warning system in place, coastal populations received little or no warning. In some areas, the sea pulled back ominously, a natural signal few recognized before the waves returned with overwhelming force. The human toll spread across an entire ocean basin. Indonesia suffered the worst losses, particularly in Aceh, where entire towns were obliterated. Sri Lanka and India were struck hours later. Yet tens of thousands still died as waves swept far inland. In Thailand, tourist resorts were destroyed, leading to the deaths of both locals and visitors. The tsunami reached as far as East Africa, where coastal villages in Somalia and Tanzania were flooded, despite being thousands of kilometers from the epicenter. Differences in death tolls reflected coastline shape, population density, natural barriers, and whether people had time or knowledge to flee. The disaster led to the creation of modern Indian Ocean tsunami warning systems and strengthened international cooperation in hazard monitoring and emergency response. The 2010 Haiti Earthquake. Haiti was already living on the edge of disaster. Decades of poverty had pushed much of the population into dense urban neighborhoods built without formal planning. In Port-au-Prince, homes rose floor by floor using brittle concrete and little steel reinforcement. Building codes existed mostly on paper and enforcement was rare. Although major faults crossed the island and scientists had warned of seismic risk, earthquake preparedness was almost non-existent, leaving millions exposed long before January 2010. The earthquake struck on the afternoon of January 12th, lasting less than a minute but hitting with devastating precision. Its magnitude of 7 placed it well below the world's largest quakes, yet the shallow depth and close proximity to Port-au-Prince amplified the shaking. Energy traveled straight into the city, producing violent ground motion that buildings were never designed to withstand. Entire blocks collapsed, trapping people in offices, schools, homes, and crowded streets before any warning could spread. What followed was the collapse of the systems that held the country together. Government ministries, the presidential palace, and the National Assembly were reduced to rubble, leaving leadership paralyzed at the moment it was needed the most. Hospitals crumbled just as thousands of injured people poured in. The main port and airport were damaged, choking off supply routes and slowing rescue efforts. An estimated 100,000 to over 200,000 people died, and more than 1 million were left without shelter. Survivors slept in open fields and roadways as aftershocks continued. Aid organizations faced destroyed roads, limited coordination, and overwhelming human need, turning every rescue into a logistical nightmare. The Haiti earthquake reshaped how disasters are understood. It showed that earthquakes become humanitarian catastrophes when poverty, weak governance, and fragile infrastructure collide with natural forces. Thanks for watching. For more deadly disasters, check out this video on the deadliest tornadoes in U.S. history.